Hey guys, it's Sekaar, and today we're going to be going over my MagDK build for the Scribes of Fate chapter. I think that this build has been so much fun. I could push about 9k weapon damage on it, so it has been absolutely a blast. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's been so much fun. So also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. It is free, and we just passed that 5k mark. But guys, that is it from me. I hope that you guys enjoy this build. I know that I did. And let's just get on with the video. Alright guys, let's get started. First things first, we're going to look at our character sheet. We want to be a Breton on our MagDK. In my opinion, Breton is the best race for this because of the reduced cost passive on all of your magic abilities. And that is really going to help your sustain overall. That way you're not kind of lacking there. So in my opinion, Breton is absolutely best in slot for this. Our attributes are going to be 37 points into magic, 7 points into health, and 20 points into stam to give us a max magic pool of 23k, a max health pool of 31.1k, and a max stam pool of 17.7k. Our Mundus is going to be the warrior to increase our weapon damage as much as possible. Warrior is always better than using... Weapon damage is always better on Dragon Knight rather than spell damage because everything is based off of your higher one, because a lot of people are still asking questions about this. So everything is hybridized nowadays. Everything is based off of whichever one is higher. And for DK, you have a skill right here. You have a... Where is it? Right here. You have a passive that is, you can get minor brutality, so you can always increase your weapon damage higher than your spell damage. So always build into weapon damage if you're using a DK. So looking at our sets, we're going to be using as our monster set, we're going to be using Bloodspawn as always, because Bloodspawn is, in my opinion, the best monster set for DK. We're going to be using a heavy reinforced helmet and a medium impen shoulder. Bloodspawn is going to give us 1 line of stamina recovery, and then when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate 13 ultimate and increase your physical and spell resistance by 3,700 for 5 seconds. So that is huge for your ultimate sustain, because your ultimate sustain is basically really a good way to just keep your resources up at all times and making sure that you're not draining that tank. So again, heavy reinforced helmet and a medium impen shoulder. And before we even go any farther, all of our body pieces are going to be prismatic enchants, because you can see that that gets us the most amount of max stats as possible. Our back bar set is going to be Clever Alchemist. We're going to be using a heavy reinforced chest piece. What this is going to do is going to give you 2 lines of max health, weapon and spell damage, and then when you drink a potion during combat, you basically get 675 weapon and spell damage for 20 seconds. So this is huge for increasing your overall weapon and spell damage. We are absolutely pushing it so high on this build, and I absolutely love this so much. We're also going to be using One Piece light trainee. This is going to be an impen. This is going to be a way to increase our max health as much as possible. Trainee, you get 1 extra slot on this build because you use a front bar and a back bar set, so that leaves 1 left over. So using trainee is a great way to increase your max health. We're going to be using light burning spellweave gloves. We're going to have 1 piece divines on this build. So what burning spellweave does is it's going to be your front bar set. It's going to increase your max magic, going to give you weapon spell damage, crit chance, and then when you deal damage with a flame damage ability, you apply the burning status effect to the enemy, and you increase your weapon and spell damage by 490 for 8 seconds as well. So between your burning spell weave and then your Clever Alchemist, you are increasing your damage so much. If you could time them together, it is amazing. I will show you at the end of this build exactly how much you can get up to. I think my personal best while in combat was up to like 9,200, so it is massive. We're going to also be using a heavy Clever Alchemist legs in reinforced as well, and light burning spellweave shoes in impen as well. Our jewelry is going to be a burning spellweave necklace in the infused trait with a weapon and spell damage glyph on it. Our mythic is going to be Markin in the infused trait with a weapon and spell damage glyph on it as well. Markin is going to give us 200 weapon and spell damage and then 2314 armor. This is the great way to build up your weapon and spell damage as much as possible, and also being a little bit tanky with that extra armor. I know that we can build higher damage with sea serpents, but honestly, I hate sea serpents. It is so slow when you have that 40% snare on you. I absolutely hate it. So I'd rather have the overall stats of Markin rather than using sea serpents at all. And then finally, a Clever Alchemist ring in the infused trait with a weapon and spell damage glyph on it. We're using triple infused because we're just pushing that weapon damage up as high as possible, and I just love seeing those higher numbers. And then we're going to be using dual wield burning spellweave swords. Our main hand is going to be Nirnhoned with a shock damage enchantment on it, and our offhand is going to be charged with a magic and magic restore glyph on it as well. We're using swords because we use a corrosive a lot on this build, and you don't really need maces because of that. So we're using swords to increase our weapon damage even more. And then back bar is going to be Clever Alchemist Ice Staff in the defending trait with an increased weapon and spell damage glyph on it as well. We're using Ice Staff because of the reduced cost on all of your blocking, and then you can also block more with this. So I personally like using Ice Staff for that. For our skills, our front bar is going to be Molten Whip as your main damage. You're going to be alternating a lot of damage abilities. It's not really going to be your spammable, but what happens is after you hit 3 stacks of your Ardent Flame abilities, you're going to be getting 3 stacks of Seething Fury. So it's going to increase your next damage of your Molten Whip by 20% each time. So it's going to increase it, 60% overall. So that is huge. That damage increase is a lot, and I definitely recommend using that. Shattering Rocks, this is going to be your main CC on this build. And then on top of that, you also get a heal when the effect ends. So that is awesome. Flames of Oblivion, this is going to be another extra source of damage on your build, and it's also an Ardent Flame ability, so this is going to proc one of your stacks of Seething Fury from Molten Whip. On top of that, you're also gaining Major Prophecy and Savagery, increasing your weapon and spell crit by 2,600. And also, this is some really good damage, this ability, so really don't sleep on it. And then Burning Talon, this is going to be another form of crowd control. Between using Talons on your enemy, then they most likely roll dodge out of it, hitting them with Shattering Rocks. It wastes a lot of stam for them, and it is a great combo to use. Definitely go back and forth between this, and do not sleep on that at all. And then Noxious Breath, this is going to be basically one of your main spammables on this build. It's going to afflict your enemies with Major Breach, so it's going to reduce their physical and spell resistance by 6k. But on top of that, the damage on this is really good, especially when people are starting to roll dodge. It goes through roll dodge. So hitting them mid-roll dodge is a great way to just keep your extra damage up. And on top of that, just a nice dot, and it's another stack of Seething Fury for your Molten Whip. And then also we're going to be using Take Flight. This is going to basically be our front bar ultimate, and I use it sometimes, but I like using Corrosive on my back bar more. You can see that my tooltip on this is kind of cracked, and I'm not even buffed up at all right now. Like, I don't have any of my buffs up. I don't have my Clever Alchemist, my Burning Spellweave, or my weapon and spell damage buff up. So that's at 17k, so that's going to get a lot higher as we go along. So, I mean, if you got to use it, use it. It's going to hit hard. And then our back bar skills are going to be Igneous Weapon. This is going to increase your weapon and spell damage by 20%, so it's going to give you Major Brutality and Sorcery. And it's a 1.2 minute ability, so, I mean, it's really not that hard to keep up, guys. It's 1.2 minutes. If you can't keep track of that, I don't know what to tell you guys. And then Race Against Time, this is going to give you Major Expedition and Minor Force, so it's going to increase your movement speed by 30%, and your critical damage is going to be increased by 10%. It's also going to be your snare removal, so it's going to also, if you're snared or immobilized or something, it's going to get you out of that, and you're going to be immune to them for 4 seconds. I know that if you use Mistform, you can get an extra 300 weapon and spell damage, but personally, I like Race Against Time so much better. And then Resolving Vigor, this is going to be your main heal over time. It's going to be a 5-second heal, especially when you're buffed up and you hit this, and you have your high weapon and spell damage. Dude, you hit crazy good Resolving Vigor ticks. It is nuts. And on top of that, you're also getting Minor Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 3k for 20 seconds. Coagulating Blood, this is going to be your main burst heal. So when you're taking too much damage for your Resolving Vigor to heal, you hit this and boom, you shoot right back up to full health. It is that easy. And then Volatile Armor, this is going to be your source of Major Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 6k for 20 seconds. It's also going to leave a little bit of a dot on your enemies too. It's not too much damage, but hey, I'll take any extra damage that I can get in this game. And then Corrosive, the honestly most OP ability in this game. It's going to limit your incoming damage to 3% of your max health, so you are going to be extremely tanky. You're also doing poison damage every second to enemies nearby. And the most important part is you're going to be ignoring your enemy's physical and spell resistance. So you're going to be hitting like a truck in this. When you're fully buffed up with your Clever Alchemist proc and your Burning Spellweed proc, and you hit them with a 3-stack whip with Corrosive, trust me, they're feeling it. Really, trust me, they're feeling it. And then finally, our champion points, our blue slotables are going to be Master at Arms, Ironclad, Untamed Aggression, and Focus Mending. I liked Untamed Aggression because, honestly, I just think it's funny increasing our weapon spell damage as much as possible. Our red slotables are going to be Pain's Refuge, Survival Instincts, Sustained by Suffering, and Celerity. And our green slotables, the only things that really matter are Breakfall right here, Rationer, and Liquid Efficiency. And that is the entire build, guys. I'm going to run over here because I'm in my friend's house right now. And I want to show you exactly how high up we can get this weapon damage up to. So let us use, how about this one? I think this is the, actually right here. This is the easiest one. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my weapon spell damage with my Igneous Weapons. So right there, unbuffed, we're at 6.2k weapon damage on our front bar. We get 3 stacks of Molten of Seething Fury, so up to 6.6. We then hit we're gonna do that, so we're in combat, hit a potion, corrosive, we're up to 7.9, 8.6. That is some crazy damage right there. As you can see, we're up to 8.6 weapon damage, and honestly, that is so much. It being in corrosive with 8.6k weapon damage is absolutely nuts. It is crazy. The amount of damage that I have on people is absolutely insane, and I definitely recommend it. This build has been a lot of fun. To be able to have this much damage has just been honestly such a blast. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this build. If you are not, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It is free to do so. We just passed 5k subs recently, so we're moving right along to that 6k mark, and I just appreciate every single person that subs. It is literally the freest form of support. I can't stress that enough. Also, just liking the video helps too. It is honestly just, it really helps me in the algorithm. And also, just comment anything. Actually, what are we going to comment? What's your favorite movie of all time? Just let me know in the comments what your favorite movie is. Guys, that's it from me. I really hope that you guys enjoy. Last thing, I promise. If you want to see builds like this live in action, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Sekaar, where I stream 5 days a week. So come check it out. The link will be in the description. But guys, that is it from me. No more talking. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.